Here's an ordinary can of Coca-Cola, the kind of thing you'd normally drink and throw away without a second thought. But what if there was a way to give it a completely new life? Today, we're going to turn this simple can into something you'd never expect. This is a standard 330 milliliter can, the most common size you'll find in any store, made of thin, lightweight aluminum. We're going to work with nothing but our hands, a bit of sandpaper, and a lot of patience, no fancy tools required. We start by sanding down the surface, gradually removing the paint and the printed label layer by layer. As we work, the bright red color slowly fades away, revealing the bare, shiny aluminum underneath. This raw metal surface is exactly what we need, a clean, blank canvas that will let every fold and every edge show up clearly once we start shaping the pattern. Before we touch the can again, we need a reliable guide, and for that, we turn to a simple strip of paper. We fold it accordion style, back and forth, creating a tight, even zigzag. It might look like a small, unimportant step, but this little paper strip is actually the key to the whole project. Every crease in it has to be consistent, because this zigzag will become our template, the exact pattern we'll trace onto the metal in a moment. Get this part right, and the rest of the transformation will follow naturally. Notice how much care goes into keeping each fold the same width. If one segment is even slightly wider or narrower than the rest, the whole pattern will end up lopsided once it's wrapped around the can. So we take our time, running a fingernail along each crease to sharpen it, checking the strip against itself, flattening it out, and folding it again if something looks off. Now it's time to bring the template and the can together, starting with the vertical lines. We wrap a paper strip around the can to mark out evenly spaced points along its circumference, then bring in a set square to guide the pen in a perfectly straight line, running from the top of the can all the way down to the bottom, one straight line at a time. We work our way around the can, rotating it slightly after each pass. The set square is essential here. Without it, even a slightly wobbly hand would throw off the whole grid. And every later fold depends on these vertical lines being truly straight and evenly spaced. Notice how the can gets repositioned carefully between each line, lined up flush against the edge of the square, so the new line starts from exactly the same reference point as the one before it. There's no rushing. This part 1 crooked line, even by just a couple of degrees, would throw off every triangle that connects to it later on. On one of the flat, straight sections of the can's wall, we now take a ruler and mark a row of small points running up along a single vertical line. These aren't folds themselves, they're reference points, evenly spaced measurements that will tell us exactly where each horizontal ring needs to sit once we bring in the next template. A small step, but it's what keeps the whole horizontal grid precise instead of eyeballed. With the vertical lines done, we switch to a second, sturdier template, this time made of cardboard rather than paper. This cardboard strip is wrapped around the can horizontally, at a right angle to the axis, and it's rigid enough to hold its shape perfectly as we trace along its edge. Using it as a guide, we mark a series of horizontal rings running around the circumference of the can, spaced evenly from top to bottom. Cardboard makes a real difference here compared to paper. It doesn't flex or bunch up, as it wraps around the curved surface. So the line it produces stays perfectly level all the way around, instead of drifting up or down. We reposition the template ring by ring, checking each one against the reference points we marked earlier with the ruler, making sure the spacing between rows stays exactly consistent from the top of the can to the bottom. Combined with the vertical lines from a moment ago, these horizontal rings complete the full grid. The intersections of these two sets of lines are exactly where our diamond-shaped facets will eventually form. With the full grid marked out, we switch tools, this time picking up a thick, blunt pen, one that no longer writes and is used purely as a pressing tool. Lining it up against the same cardboard template we just used for the horizontal rings, we go over each horizontal line again, but now pressing down firmly enough to actually emboss it into the aluminum. Unlike the earlier lines, which were just drawn on the surface, these grooves are physically pressed into the metal, a real tactile crease that the can will later fold along. It's a slower process, going ring by ring around the can, but this is what turns a flat drawing into an actual physical guide for the folding to come. With the full grid of horizontal and vertical lines now in place, we grab a red marker to highlight the points that matter most, the intersections. But not every single crossing point gets marked, only every second one, skipping one square at a time, both across and up-down. So the red marks form a spaced-out, checkerboard-like pattern over the grid. These red dots aren't just for show, they mark the exact spots where the metal will be pushed inward to form the peaks and valleys of our faceted pattern. So, getting their spacing right now is what keeps the final geometry clean and consistent. Let's pause for just a moment. Here's an empty glass, and here, the dark, fizzy cola being poured into it. It's a small reminder of what a can like this is actually made for in everyday life. Before we go right back to transforming ours into something the manufacturer never intended, now we get to the most delicate and important part of the whole process. Working carefully and methodically, we press firmly along every single marked line, one after another, pre-creasing the thin aluminum so the metal essentially remembers exactly where it needs to bend. This step requires real patience. Press too hard and the metal can tear or wrinkle unevenly. Press too gently and the fold won't hold its shape later. Line by line, the flat grid pattern slowly starts to gain a subtle three-dimensional texture. And here it is, the moment everything comes together. As the pre-creased lines finally give in, the can starts folding in on itself all at once, and the once smooth cylinder rapidly begins turning into a faceted, crystal-like shape right before our eyes. With the basic folded structure now in place, we switch to fine-tuning it entirely by hand. Working around the can, section by section, we press, pinch, and adjust each individual facet, coaxing the metal into sharper, cleaner edges. Some panels need a bit more pressure. Others need to be gently pushed back into alignment. It's a hands-on balancing act between the whole shape and its smallest details. Slowly but surely, the pattern becomes symmetrical and even, transforming what was once a rough set of folds into a genuinely polished geometric form. With the shape now folded, all those black grid lines and the red marker dots have done their job, and it's time to get rid of them. We take a cotton pad, soak it in 70–90% rubbing alcohol, and start gently wiping down the surface of the can. Bit by bit, the black ink and the red marks dissolve away, and underneath them, the bare aluminum comes back to life, clean, bright, and fully silver again. This step is what takes the piece from looking like a rough work in progress to looking like a finished object, letting the sharp geometric facets finally speak for themselves without any leftover pencil or marker marks in the way. And here's our result, standing on its own. What started as a plain, disposable soda can has become a striking geometric object, a faceted silver sculpture that catches the light differently from every single angle. It's hard to believe this came from the same thin aluminum shell we sanded down at the very beginning. And here's our final result, two faceted cans standing side by side, born from the exact same folding technique, yet looking completely different. One stripped down to bare, gleaming metal, the other still proudly wearing its original red and white branding. Now we've decided to try the exact same technique one more time, but this time without sanding off the label first. We repeat the entire process. The paper and cardboard templates, the vertical and horizontal lines, the red marker points, the pressing and folding, but now on a can that still has its bright red Coca-Cola branding fully intact. It's genuinely curious to see whether the logo and the colors can survive such a dramatic transformation, or whether the printed label will crack and peel apart under all that folding and pressure. Fold by fold, the familiar red can starts twisting into the same faceted, crystal-like pattern as before, only this time, instead of bare silver metal, we're watching the iconic Coca-Cola script bend and fold along with it, stretching across the diamond-shaped panels in a way you'd never normally see on a can like this. What began as two ordinary disposable soda cans have become genuine handmade sculptures, proof that with a bit of patience and the right pattern, almost anything can be given a second life. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment and hit like if you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.